diabetic and you haven't started medication yet and you do not want it, the medication, yeah, it might help with your blood sugar and it causes other side effects. When you tell the doctor will give you another medication that helps the side effect, which might cause another side effect. The good thing about it is the blood sugar can be controlled by our lifestyle. A lot of people want to take a quick fix. That's why they might choose the medication route. But if you truly want to change your lifestyle, you're serious about taking care of your health, doing lifestyle change and developing habits that's sustainable is definitely the way to go. If you're pre-diabetic and you want to control your blood sugar without medication, I would say start with a balanced meal. And in my other video, I talked about the 2-1-1 plate. When you have a plate, you have half of the plate vegetables. Try to have different color like a rainbow because different color have different vitamins and minerals. And then a quarter of the plate carb, which includes fruit as well, but preferably whole grain. And if you want to have some dessert, you want to save some space for that later, so eat less carb in the main course. And then another quarter of the plate to be protein, preferably lean protein and plant-based protein. Most people, especially in the Asian culture, we may eat just 3 big meals a day. So between lunch and dinner, there's actually a 6-hour gap. Since for lunchtime, you're thinking, oh, I need to eat enough food to last until dinner. Most people tend to eat a little bit too much for lunch. But a lot of times after lunch, people just may be working in front of the computer. They're not moving a lot. So your body doesn't have the demand of energy to utilize those blood sugar. So guess what happened? Eat a huge meal, the insulin spike, and then, there's no energy demand, so let me store it. And when we store it, it goes right here in our abdomen area. And that's why the blood sugar rises and then falls really fast and people have food coma in the afternoon. Instead, plan a snacks in the middle of the day. And then also by dinner time, you won't be starving because you already have that afternoon snacks. So snacks is so important. Of course, I'm not talking about chips or like chocolate or just sweets in general, donuts. I'm talking about protein-oriented, fiber-rich, and minimally processed snacks. Instead of those refined carbohydrate, we should focus more on the whole grain. The brown rice, the whole grain bread, the whole wheat pasta, that will be better. And for noodle, I know a lot of Asian people love noodle. I try to do the buckwheat, the soba noodle. If you're diabetic, having the konjac noodle, also they're low in carb. That way you can still get to enjoy the noodle dish that you like, but without spiking your blood sugar. There's a lot of processed food, I don't know when you guys go shopping, do you look at the ingredient list and look at the sugar? And sometimes that can be tricky, because they might say 0 on the sugar, but then there's other sugar alcohol, the other sweeteners that might not be best for the gut health. Even if it's organic sugar, it's still sugar, right? Go easy on the added sugar. The shorter the ingredient list, the better. The first ingredient on the ingredient list, it means it has the most amount. If the first ingredient or the second ingredient is sugar, you definitely want to think twice about buying that product. Sugar does causes inflammation in our body, but then I definitely learned to kind of dial it down, and I'm being choosy about it. I still love chocolate. Of course, I'm gonna go for my vegan dark chocolate and then small amount. And when I go to a gathering, they have lots of dessert. I definitely look at all my options to see which one I really, really like. Then I just have a small amount versus going crazy with all the different dessert. This is a very, very common misconception. I have clients who have family history of diabetes. They have that fear of carb. And guess what? They're like, oh, keto. I can do keto and I'm okay, right? Because I'm going to cut out all the carb and lots of protein. But guess what? This client ended up having high cholesterol because they were eating unlimited amount of meat and cheese and all of that. Eating protein is important, along with the carbohydrate, but that doesn't mean you go crazy about it. Still like a palm size would be good. And of course, based on your activity level, and that's why talking to a professional, that way they can evaluate your situation and give you more personalized recommendation. And then for protein, I definitely have been trying to encourage my client to incorporate more plant-based protein, like the tofu. Of course, with anything soy, I would suggest to use the organic because, a lot of the soy products are genetically modified. Maybe whatever you use to cook it with chicken, you just replace it with tofu and add the same seasoning. Yeah, so try that out. So it's not just the food alone, right? Food, of course, is an important part, but movement is just as important. Fitness. So after you eat a balanced meal, right? We follow the 2-1-1 plate. You eat more plant-based protein. You follow the order. You're eating more the vegetable and the protein first before the carb. Just go pick up groceries, and just make it more of like a routine, And I know sometimes when it's too hot, you don't want to be outside. Maybe you can do like an exercise video indoor, right? There's all these walking video for free on YouTube. Just move, do something. That way it won't cause a blood sugar spike. We recommend it's better to eat dinner maybe 2 hours before bedtime. So that way it gives your stomach a little bit of time to digest, before you, and also the blood sugar to be utilized a little bit before you go to bed. I have a video that talks about the different type of soy sauce, how to choose them. I have another video that talks about how to eat hot pot in a healthy way. Also, how to eat dim sum. When we go to dim sum restaurant, how to order in a healthy way. If you like the content, please like and subscribe to our channel. I share a lot of motivation tips, recipe ideas, nutrition tips on a daily basis.